the Edmonton Oilers still have a pretty crucial offseason to make with not having Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg signed. Both are still currently RFAs, but the Oilers are currently not able to sign them due to their cap situation. And we know there's been lots of reports about potential trades, the LTIR for Evander Kane, but can Jeff Jackson do something without having to make a trade? The odds may be against him, but if he's going to be the guy to do it, he certainly can. However, the odds are against him, like I said, but we're going to be talking about how this is going to happen, what needs to happen, and why this is so important the Oilers get this done as soon as possible here in this video. Before we get into it, though, we also 92% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Edmonton Oilers news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join us here on this channel as we cover everything Edmonton Oilers related. And as I said, this is still a very busy offseason for the Edmonton Oilers, as some big moves need to happen. But let's get right into it, go into our first topic here, which is the Oilers are in pretty big cap trouble. Now, it could be a lot worse, so let's keep that in mind, but they are in a bit of a sticky situation right now when it comes to two RFAs that they want and need re-signed, but they can't do it because of this cap. So I'm going to pull up our first screenshot here, which we have, and it says, the Oilers, however, aren't out of the salary cap hell just yet. Puckpedia indicates they're now over $354,000 above the cap, with RFAs Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg due for new contracts. Both are contemplating their entry-level contract, completing their entry-level contracts, and lack of salary arbitration leverage. So, meaning the Oilers need to get this done. They need something to happen with the cap. They need to get something done now with the cap to be able to make these two sign. So, we have a few options that we've discussed here in the past. We have some things that we've kind of mentioned, thrown out there, maybe some wild takes, but this is what this article brings. And these are all, for the most part, from the same. And this is our first little bit of what they have. One is putting Evander Kane on long-term injury reserve if he requires surgery or a lengthy recovery from a suspected hip injury. Otherwise, the Oilers could end up dumping another contract via the trade market. We've already seen the acquisition of Matthew Savoy in exchange for Ryan McLeod. So that really there dumps a bit of cap, $2.1 million of McLeod's contract, meaning that they're pretty close to the border now. They're pretty close to the limit of the cap, but they're still not there. That's the big issue. Could another trade happen? We've kind of discussed Evander Kane, still a very important piece of this team, so it really wouldn't make sense, but he is the guy kind of who has that middle-of-the-road cap that would easily be able to make both of these guys sign, but it would be a very, very big loss from this team. So I think, personally, that's out of the picture right now, at least, for what we see with Evander Kane. And this is also from this screenshot, kind of reiterating what I just said. Trading Kane would free up $5.125 million annually over the Oilers cap payroll throughout 25-26. However, the Hockey News' Caleb Kearney pointed out that he has a full no-move clause until March 1st, when it becomes a 6-team no-trade list. Now, personally, I really don't think that matters. A lot of teams wouldn't want him anyways, but I think the Oilers want to keep him. He's done well with the Oilers. He's found a great spot there. And many other teams are kind of, I wouldn't say concerned, but acknowledging his past, as well as the whole situation surrounding him as ex-girlfriend, whatever's going on. That fully makes sense why teams may not want to get involved with that. But I think the Oilers, also just don't want to have him traded. I think it's just a really big part of what we're going to see. But here's another very, very big and very important piece what we're going to see here, and potentially could happen with the Edmonton Oilers. Once again, from the same article. Kearney also noted the fourth period's David Pagnotta speculating that the Oilers could shop a defenseman like Cody Ceci or Brett Kulak. Cody Ceci was 30 right now, has a $3.25 million cap hit this season, while 30-year-old Brett Kulak carries an annual average of $2.75 million throughout 25-26. Now, shopping both of these players, if not one of them, would really resolve these issues. We know we know that Broberg and Holloway are not going to be making mass amounts of salary. They're not going to be making huge contracts yet. Not saying they will never, but right now, I think both of these guys could be an option, as David Pagnotta noted, for a potential trade. I think these two are also likely the front runners for what could be a trade. And we know that this is going to be something that is going to be keeping an eye on until something does happen. That's really the way top teams like the Edmonton Oilers and Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, whatever work. When you're in a kind of a situation, all eyes are on you. And especially with the potential of this, with a very big concerning piece for the Edmonton Oilers, from Frank Saravalli, if I were any other team, I'd be trying to offer sheet Philip Broberg. And that's, I think, a big point of concern for the Edmonton Oilers, why they're kind of rushing, if not really rushing, but concerned about making the move as soon as possible. You don't want to have an offer sheet situation which could be very, very low, number, but you still won't be able to sign it. So I think a trade like this, whether it's Cody Ceci, a guy who has a spot, but we seen last year with Darnell Nurse, had very, very little to no success with that pairing. And I think he could be a front runner for another team looking for that kind of a third pairing defenseman, a depth defenseman. So could Kulak. Kulak in the same situation, both 30 years old, but the Oilers could replace both of these guys with someone that could be better, maybe even making less. So I think the Oilers are going to keep those two right now at 1 and 2 for the trade market, and Kane probably could be there. Personally, I don't think he is, and personally, I wouldn't also make that deal. But from those teams, and as you've seen from those players, and as you've seen from the cap situation, that right there could free up $6 million. And both of those two, as I said, could be replaced, making that money and separating that money to what would be Broberg and Holloway extension. But you also have to think about what's going to happen next season with the cap. You don't want to be able to put yourself in a good situation this year, but then also think about, you have to think about next year. You don't want to, kind of reiterate and move your problem to next season and turn that into an even bigger problem than what it could be. And right now, what we have with this cap situation right here, it's not horrible. It's pretty good, actually, I should say. But as you see right now, the 354,000, above the cap. That could easily be fixed once if it's a trade for Ceci, Kulak, whoever it may be. And the next season, you have, in the 25.6 season, $25.6 million right now. I don't have a full list or a list at all right now of people who are expiring, but the more money you can have for a guy like Draisaitl is really the big thing. And that's one thing that the Oilers are going to have to think about here as well with this situation. They don't want to have to sign a defenseman if they trade one, make them go too high in the cap while trying to give Broberg and Holloway those extensions. So what the Oilers are going to have to do is a lot of, just work, a lot of hammering down on this, but nothing major. You don't want to put yourself, as I said, into a situation that can really screw you over in the next ones, but the Oilers are going to do this. Jeff Jackson, I think, is going to do this as well. We've seen a lot of good stuff coming out of them, but right now, that's what we have. So, moving on to our little second topic, and could those moves be coming? Yes. Simple answer, yes, those moves are going to happen sooner rather than later. And the Oilers want to do this. As I mentioned earlier, they want to get this done as soon as possible because they don't want to see an offer sheet. As Frank Cervelli mentioned, many teams could be on this, many teams could be looking at this, and that's one thing that the Oilers do not want to happen. Just because that's kind of a bit of a pain, from their standpoint, especially where they are right now. But looking at the stats from Kulak and Ceci. Cody Ceci this season, 25 points, 79 games. Not horrible at a defenseman, 20 minutes time on ice per game. However, the pairing that he had with Darnell Nurse did not work. And if the Bruins, I don't know why I keep saying the Bruins, if the Oilers keep trying to, put him into a situation like that where it ultimately has no success for that pairing, why not trade him? It fully makes sense to do it. You free up that cap, you get those two guys signed, and it works out. Brett Kulak, on the other hand, 16 points in 82 games, played all 82, played 50 minutes time on ice per game, once again, 30 years old, 6'1". It is what it is for these two guys, Just wanted to pull up stats, kind of give you an idea of what we're going to see, who we're going to see, and whatnot. But let me know what you think. There's a lot of stuff the Oilers are going to have to do if they want to, but they can also make this very simple. So let me know. Who do you think they should trade, if any of these ones? You have anybody off the board, and what do you think about, once again, Evander Kane? Is he going to trade? Is he going to be traded? Is he going to stay? Let me know what you think. But that's all I got here in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. Like I said, join us here for all the Edmonton Oilers news. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.